What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review, and this is a band we have covered plenty here on this channel. Actually, I just covered two of their older releases in a collection update very recently. So we are going to go over this band's latest offering, and this band is Spirit Adrift with their new album, Ghost at the Gallows. This comes out on the 18th of August on Century Media Records. This band formed in 2015 in Austin, Texas. Originally started as a solo project by ex-Gatecreeper guitarist Nate Garrett. This is his, well now there, because he has a full band now, fifth album overall, and I've been following this band for a long time. I got into them with Divided by Darkness, which was fucking awesome. Just riff city, and believe me, we're probably going to use that term once again. And I've been kind of just following ever since. They started off as more of a doom meets heavy metal project and have pretty much turned into a full-fledged old school heavy metal act. And pretty much if you love riffs and all that classic heavy metal, just fun. The melodies, the hooks, the energy, the anthems, the dirges, all that shit, you should be a Spirit Adrift fan.
Yeah, Nick mentioned we were going to say Riff City a lot, and I'm going to just upgrade that to Riff County. From the very get-go, from Give Her to the River, it's got the swampy, melodic, isolated guitar start, and then just busts in with these pretty harmonies and some very catchy riffs. And I'll just talk about production right away here. Normally I wait, but man, super crisp, clean, clear production, crunchy guitars. The guitar tone is perfect throughout this album. And yeah, it just kicks right in with riffs, man. They're all over the place.
Heavy metal gallops, you have a great build-up, and this album opens huge and closes huge, and that's something I'm gonna get back to because I can't wait to talk about the last track too. But you have an opener that is over 7 minutes, you have a closer that is over 7 minutes, and both explore different songwriting dynamics, and songwriting is such a big thing on here. Like, this is generally all about hooks, but different kinds of hooks and different kinds of songwriting tropes, and Nate has gotten so much better in, like, I think every facet here. His vocals are probably at their most powerful now. He's really just generating some great vocal hooks. There's great vocal harmonies in here, but this is a guitar-driven album. Oh my God. Every song in here features incredibly catchy riffs, like legit earworms that are complemented by amazing lead play, like lead harmonies, solos, lead trade-offs. This band went all out just in terms of making this as epic and as big as possible, and yeah, this has just been like a super fun listen. Like, the way this album flows, it's checking off like a lot of, you know, things that I like about classic heavy metal, like to the point where, man, it really sounds like something that came out in like the early to mid 80s.
Oh yeah, there's not a lot of harshness to it. The riffs definitely get dirty, but like vocally overall, there's nothing harsh on here. Beautiful cleans throughout, but they get a little gruff at times, which further brings home the 80s feel.
Yeah, and that gruffness, that sort of like earthy grittiness to the album, it kind of keeps it from being cheesy because, I mean, you're definitely going over a lot of 80s tropes on here that maybe in other hands, or maybe in the hands of some of the more classic bands, would come off as like, it sounds a little dated. But Nate does some like cool things in terms of like the guitar work and vocal melodies to kind of make it sound a little bit more, I wouldn't say like sinister or dark, but just a little bit tougher, I guess. Like, you know, that kind of works.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say doomy, but what I would say is dirty. Hangman's Revenge and Barn Burner, both of those, while super chuggy, the riff just sounds like something southern. I mean, I know they're from Texas, so that works, but I mean, Pantera, COC, that kind of melodic fucking dirty breakdown riff where you're just like, ew.
Yeah.
That's nasty, but man.
And occasionally they'll throw a harmony on top of it and make it sound a little dreary, so you get a little bit of that sort of like crowbar down sort of vibe to it. And this album has some like flat out infectious rockers too. I mean, you know, Barn Burner I think is definitely one of the big ones, but Death Won't Stop Me and I Shall Return, both of those two songs especially scream 80s single, like big anthemic on the radio. Arenas packed with fucking lighters and fucking fist pumping. And people chugging Bud Light and throwing up all over each other.
PB Army and fucking sleeveless shirts and
mullets.
Yep.
Everywhere. Fucking mullets. And glasses like he should be wearing right now.
God damn it. You're right. Missed opportunity. They're upstairs.
Son of a bitch.
You mean glasses like these?
One quick edit later, and there they are.
That's right. 80s like this.
Oh, all right, Jammin Man, Johnny Savage. We need to keep rolling with this one. Anyway, back to like songwriting dynamics and how Nate employs like a lot of just classic sounding tropes. Like Death Won't Stop Me opens up with that classic floor tom hit, double bass. Like it's got that isolated riff. You hear a harmony on top of it. It's an anthem already without even saying a fucking word. And by the time you get down to the chorus, like, yeah, I'm probably going to be singing along with this.
Yep, big epic opening, huge chords, and then that cool staccato kind of tapping melody thing. Everything just builds so nicely. It's like everything fits together. It's like the perfect fucking puzzle.
Yeah, the pacing on here, both in terms of the album and the songs themselves, you have plenty of time to let riffs sink in, and by the time they really start sinking in, you have melodies that are, being thrown on top of them and leads, and yeah, you kind of just get, washed away in, I would say, like a fair amount of nostalgia, but also just by the songwriting and the dynamics, the melodies, the hooks. These two hands, what we thought was going to be like a dreary ballad 4 tracks in, turns into this, kind of dirge. Like it kind of reminded me a lot of COC's Shelter off of Deliverance, which I fucking love that album. And it's very dreary, very somber, very reflective. Like it has like a ballady feel, but the lyrics are definitely a little bit more, dark, I would say. And then as the song goes on, it builds into, I would say, one of the doomier tracks on here. You get this big crescendo, it gets nice and heavy, the riffs get fucking epic as hell, and it bookends on that awesome acoustic note. But the opening and closing tracks really kind of show off that, he can write giant epics. So this whole album kind of like worked as a showcase of songwriting in terms of using classic tropes and mixing them up well. You have good barn burners like, Hangman's Revenge is fast, it's thrashy, kind of harks back to like early Metallica, but you also have like the giant epics which open and close this album, a nice ballad and some straightforward like singles, I would say, like straight up 80s singles that came out in 2023.
And just as this record opened big and epic, the closer, the title track, Ghost at the Gallows, I think bar none is one of my favorite songs on the record. Big chunky chugger, hooky as all get out, big leads, the catchy melodies with the giant chug tags on them, like finding these riffs that you've heard before a billion fucking times and still finding a way to make them like new and original just by adding some different tags on the end of them.
Yeah, or picking them slightly different. Like there's a lot of stuff where, they could just do like a single kind of chuggy picky, and it's like, some heftier picking on it to give it a little bit of, some added, toughness to it, a little breakdown, drum pattern. It's all over this album.
And then at the midpoint of this song, it's this really nice, clean, atmospheric break. Like there's a clean, somber melody, and it takes a minute to get there. Like here's where they really employ the building tension scale. Like it's a perfect breakout, but you can feel the energy. Even though the music doesn't change, you can just feel the vibration of this slowly ascending build, because the end of that song gave me fucking goosebumps, dude. Those huge harmony tags that are at the end of that song are the most beautiful thing ever.
Ugh. Yeah, I mean, no, it closes in grand fashion, and then after that big crescendo, it closes back down with that really cool, somber, clean melody. And again, the dynamics that are in play on this entire album, I think, are really awesome. Siren of the South. This one, well, immediately was very familiar. And, well, familiarity is definitely a big thing with this album, because there's definitely stuff that you're going to hear like, holy shit, that sounds just like that. And honestly, after jamming 20th Century's Gone, the covers EP that they put out, God, was it last year or the year before? Doesn't matter when it came out. It was awesome. That was essentially done as like a tribute to a lot of the artists that influenced him, and I can hear those all over here, like namely Pantera, definitely some Thin Lizzy all over here, and the awesome harmonies. You know, there's Iron Maiden, which he didn't cover, but there's definitely Iron Maiden here.
Megadeth, Alice in Chains, COC.
Yeah, but this song in particular, while I really dig it, I may have been a little close to the source, and like distinct songs I was able to pick out of this one. We were both like, holy shit, what does this sound like?
By Demons Be Driven.
Yes.
Instantaneously. But it's the breakdown.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's pretty damn close. Like, granted, he's not doing like an off-time pattern, like it's more of a straightforward stomp, but it's very familiar in the way that it is constructed. And then when it comes down to some of the melodies in the song, like namely building towards the chorus, I heard Megadeth in My Darkest Hour. Like, there's some melodies in there that's like, man, that is super close. Now, that's not the only spot that this happens. I Shall Return has, I mean, it's an Ozzy riff. It could be I Don't Know. It could be Crazy Train. It could be Bark of the Moon. But there's 100% an Ozzy riff in that song. And it is kind of close to the source, whichever one of those three songs it is. Like, it's very spot on. And while it's not like the hugest gripe on here, I mean, I don't know, like a lot of this plays on nostalgia anyway, and just by playing the style itself. And when some of these songs get like a little too close to like the influences, it doesn't necessarily take me out, but it kind of like pulls the veil back a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily hurt it, because I'm still enjoying the living shit out of this album. Like, I Shall Return is maybe one of the weaker tracks in here. I don't think the chorus quite lands, which the choruses on all of these songs fucking land really well. There's a lot of earnest emotion put into them. This one, it kind of feels like a single, but it has some really great riffs. There's some like almost Blue Oyster Cultish sort of vocal harmonies in there. And while I love Death Won't Stop Me, I think that is like pretty much like a perfect 80s rocker single, almost. The end of it, I think it ends a little too soon. Like, it gets into this heavy breakdown, like, again, kind of bringing a little bit of that Pantera swagger to it. And then it kind of just fades out after the solo. And this is one that was like really built around a chorus. In fact, those two songs in particular, I feel, were centered around a big hooky chorus. And they didn't do like a refrain of it.
I don't know. Me personally, I like Death Won't Stop Me. It did feel like it cut off a little too soon, but the song itself is pretty badass. Like, I can't knock it for that. Like, did you elongate it as much as I thought you needed to? No, but it's still pretty. It's a whoop ass song.
It really is.
I'm not gonna deny that.
I mean, overall, I think this album is awesome. Like, it's great at being retro. Like, if you're our age or older, there's so much on here that you're gonna hear that's just gonna remind you of why you fell in love with this genre in the first place. And if you're younger, this will probably make you want to go back and check out all these older bands that influenced them, as well as continue to jam this band. So overall, I'm gonna give this 4 stars. Honestly, I think this is one of their best albums. It is great at being retro and nostalgic and, melodic and hooky. This is such a guitar-centric album. I fucking dare you not to air guitar while listening to this. We did.
I did.
We did a lot.
Multiple times.
Yeah, it's just that much fun. Like, these are the kind of riffs that beg to be air guitared. These are the sort of soaring leads that you just need to make stupid guitar faces to.
These are the guitar riffs that you likely wish would appear more in music that don't, because things have become so modernized. I think a lot of folks, while they write riffs that play definitely to these influences, it's not laid heavily upon. Like, you just don't get stuff like this too much anymore.
And I think it's because there's just a lot of love for this sound overall. It takes a lot of the classic tropes and kind of puts like a little bit of a stamp of its own in there, makes it a little bit heavier, which is sometimes my complaint about classic heavy metal. Like, sometimes it's just not as heavy as, say, like, other genres, which, that's true. But this kind of adds a little bit of that doom heft to it, and I don't know, it kind of makes the songs a little bit more, dark and just kind of heavy. I love that this album opens as big as it closes. The opening and closing tracks are probably 2 of my favorite tracks in here, but I don't think there's much in the way of filler on here if you are a big fan, again, of, any of the bands that we named, but especially like, Iron Maiden, Angel Witch, God, man, Pantera, just, I don't know, like good riffy fucking metal. This is that. They're doing it fucking well once again. Check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid 4 for me too. Riffs all day, and done flavorfully, tastefully. The emotive that they're trying to convey in each of these songs, like all the riffs are just perfect for all these songs. The harmonies are great. The vocals are anthemic, epic. They add a lot of emotion to things. The production is killer. Take, again, all these 80s bands that we talked about and everything we've referenced, and it's kind of like going back to the Morbid Visions from Sepultura, the remasters. Like, you wish you could take all those old recordings and just tweak them a little bit. And, like, this is that kind of product. Like, it takes that classic 80s sound and it tweaks the production to make it more modernized while not losing the natural sound and feel of things. Super jammy, just a really good time to listen to. Like Nick said, if you're a fan of any of the bands that we talked about, you're going to fucking love this. If you're an old schooler, this is right up your alley. If you are coming to this new, you're probably going to want to pick up a guitar. I don't even play fucking guitar, but like Nick said, I dare you not to air guitar, dude. We did it nonstop. It's just a good time. I had a great time listening to this record. It made me feel not only nostalgia, but just kind of like upbeat and like, all right.
This isn't a bad way to feel old.
No, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, this is one of the better ways to feel old.
Yep. Just trust me, dude. Those dirty, nasty riffs that are in quite a few of these songs just give you like the, man, what icing on the cake. Like they picked buttercream instead of that whipped shit. So yeah.
I want all my fucking calories.
But yeah, definitely go check this out. These guys are doing a great job. I'm very happy to have listened to this record. It's a jammer.
So if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com, which is currently under construction, but should be showing up soon. Either way, our Patreon link is on our channel. Once the site does show up, it will probably coincide with us doing a video showing off the new shirts that we have ordered and are just waiting for them to show up. But we'll probably do a giveaway with that as well. And as for other stuff on the channel, I mean, again, tons of releases coming out, so there's going to be a lot of reviews. And I'm going to take a bit of a break from collection updates after this next one so I can do some States of Metal again, because I've missed doing that, because those don't take as long.
Yep, and Judas Priest, which we need to get moving on.
Yeah, there's a lot of listening there, but luckily I'm familiar with a good chunk of that discography. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the works.
Got some shows coming up too, actually, this coming Sunday at Howard's in Bowling Green, Ohio. If you're in the Toledo area or northwestern Ohio or even in the tri-state area, fuck it. If you're in the area at all, Narcotic Wasteland, Mutilatred, Cadaverous, and Axioma will be playing Sunday night at Howard's. $20 at the door. Doors are at 6 p.m. Come on, man. Have a good fucking time. Frankie's in Toledo, our old stomping grounds, a bar that we've all grown up in. We've seen hundreds of shows there. October 1st, Revocation, Unearth, Entheos, and High Command are going to be there. Definitely check that out. Check out the show at Howard's. The music is coming back to Toledo, and we're happy to be able to promote that, because music has been absent for so long from this area.
Yeah, a lot of driving to other places.
Yeah, not that I don't mind driving to Detroit and Cleveland all the time, but man, having music come to our hometown and be 10 minutes from our house is pretty fucking cool too.
And of course, thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, following, all that shit. It means the fucking world to us. I know this thank you part where we say the same shit every time. We get all gushy and weird.
I just fucking love you, man.
Yeah.
Not you, but
that kind
those
of weird.
people. Yeah.
But we mean it. You guys are awesome. It is amazing doing this still.
Yep.
Again, like so much music to go over, and it's been a blast. It's just fun being able to fucking do this.
Yeah,
and getting the response we get is, like the icing on the cake, buttercream.
Overwhelming sometimes. The response we get is crazy, but I mean, it's become, a huge part of our lives. I look forward to review days, to be honest. It's just nice to be able to get down here and do this, and it wouldn't be without you guys. We just simply would be two assholes in the basement talking about music, which we were going to do anyway, but you guys have made it so much more special and awesome and entertaining, and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So with that, I'm going to thank you one more time.
Thank you.
And we will catch you later.